Gord, welcome back. You must be the fastest turnaround guest, but I thought I liked talking to Brian the last day, and I'm in an interest in what Brian is doing. Let's get Brian back again.
It was funny, yeah. My missus said it to me as well. She was like, "You were only on that there recently," and I was like, almost accusatory, like there's something going on between you and Tom. I was like, Tom wants to talk to me. I'm not going to say no.
I love the notion that we were having a dirty affair over in public. In public.
Tom said, "Fuck it, no one's listening to the podcast. We might as well use it for something, or just like, oh yeah, Jesus, that's it."
Just hiding away on the podcast, all two people just listening in, and Azerbaijan going, "These are dirty bastards."
Ooh,
I like
hairy, dirty men.
Yeah, hairy, dirty men. No, more than anything, I've had bald-faced men on and women on the last few months, and I just went, I need to.
Enough, isn't it?
It's enough. Like you're going, I'm seeing way too much of your face. It's like you've dropped the veil. The fourth wall is gone. Like you've blurred your background, and 60% of your face is covered. I like that.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think bald-faced people get far too much airtime. We're underrepresented as individuals. I think the bearded, hairy men are underrepresented, Tom. Nobody's talking about this.
See, this is a really good point you make. Like, are you a hairy man? Hairy shoulders?
No, I'm not.
You not?
I'm not. It surprises people. I have a huge beard, and that's about it. Apart from some straight testicle hairs, that's it.
Not on the chest.
I'm not a hairy man. Tiny bit on the chest now. Might as well be a 12-year-old boy like going through puberty.
Go away.
Yeah, nothing. Legs like a cyclist.
I didn't see that. No, I mean, in all fairness, I would have thought, like if we were, of that way inclined, and we both tugged off, like.
Well, I sent you the pictures, Tom. To be honest, if you didn't look at them, that's.
Oh, wow! I didn't think that was you. I thought that was like just a shade.
That was my missus.
I didn't want to say it out loud to you, like going.
Yeah. God, you look very alike. Only, she's nice looking.
They're a beautiful couple. Is that a burqa? No. Oh, it's a beard she had. Oh, wow.
Yeah, she wears it well.
That's surprise. I would have had, and I suppose, the only saving grace I have is if I was a dark-haired man, I would look like a fucking yeti.
Are you a hairy shouldered man now?
Yeah.
I'd say you're a hairy shouldered man. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and we're talking since 14. Like.
And have you ever shaved your shoulders or your back? Or
I did it as I lost a bet with there was a trio of us.
Some would say you won that, Tom. To be honest, if you had to shave your back.
No, I didn't. That was the thing. I was willing to shave it let one of the lads shave, but no, it had to be waxed. And I mean, and it was the most adverse thing to how we were at the time. Like we were three Cro-Mangans who I suppose we all had management jobs in construction, but we were the roughest, three rough animals, articles going around. And the bet was something fucking, just something to the point that I can't even fucking remember it. It was something abject, like, that a certain thing a job will be finished at a certain time or something. It was like, what? This is what a niche thing to fucking bet. Like, will a crane be fucking erected by Friday? Like something.
You were stuck for stuff to bet on, weren't you?
We were sad fuckers in that sense. Like, but I said, I'm not. No, I'll pay to forfeit. I'll pay whatever. Like, a night's drinking. They were like, no, because we were all at the time we were all loaded, and. Yeah, around the corner, literally, we were in the pub Friday evening on Washington Street in Cork, and the beauty place was still open. And Dennis walked me around. He's a big cunt, like, he walked me around, and he went, "You wax fellas," and it was the most like aggressive.
Would you wax a man? Would you?
Like it's just, the more I thought about it afterwards, it was like it would be a great scene in a fucking dark comedy. Like, would you wax a man? And like that, you want, what do you want done? We get loads of South American guys in here, get the full body undercarriage, the whole lot done. Like his eyes lit up. He was like, yeah. I said, no, that's no, because no, we're not. And she waxed my back and shoulders, and like it's not. I'm not like a yeti, but it's all there. It's all there. Do you know what I mean? I'm not quite fucking.
Blonde, hairy backed man. You're like an albino fucking yeti then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no. It's kind of fairish brown. Like I
Right.
guess I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Dirty blonde. That's what's in my
Yeah,
head. It's
dirty
sort of a
blonde.
dirty
Yeah.
blonde. Yeah. Jesus.
And but I wear it with pride now. I wear it with
Yeah.
pride. It's like, yeah, fuck
Yeah.
it.
Well, sure. Look at you. Have a woman, a child, and a house. Sure, you can do what you want with your back, can't you?
But this is it. And you know
Yeah.
what? She appreciates it. She appreciates it.
Cold house, is it?
Perish. Well, sure, she would be hairy back too, so it's grand. So is the uncle. The uncle came out with a hairy back.
I don't think that was the hairy back.
I mean, I didn't think we were going to get into kind of semi-homoerotic.
Well, look at
hair
that's
worship.
what happens when you put hairy men together.
It is. Do you know what? It is. But then fellas take it too far. Like you just about keep the fucking beard in order. Which is, like I remember getting a guy approached me he had a company down in Cork, and it was a beard oil, a moustache oil.
West Cork Beard Company, yeah.
No, he wasn't him.
No,
he wasn't him.
Another one.
He was starting out, and he wanted to kind of sponsor the podcast in a way, and it wasn't, monetary value. It wasn't much or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was kind of going, do I give the guy a dig out? But at the same time, I'm kind of going, I can't back something I'm not gonna use. No,
Yeah.
You can't wax this shit. Like, what? No.
Yeah.
No, because for me, nerds ruin everything. And this had turned mustache and beard growing into a nerd.
Yeah. No, valid point. Sure, you only have to open Instagram now and it's beard videos of lads all over the world. Like always like men who look like Vikings, ripped, huge men, like putting about 27 products in their face for like half hour in the morning. I wouldn't. The reason I grew a beard is to stop bloody shaving. Like I'm not replacing shaving time with more bloody work. Do you know what I mean? I'm a lazy man's beard. That's the way to be. You know?
The
hair is for the lazy.
I'm 100% with you. Like, and that's a big fucking thing that seems to have come about lately. That show Vikings has a lot to answer for you.
Yeah.
This whole LARPing weekends of blokes who take it deadly seriously. I've learned this from TikTok or whatever. Blokes who full ass grown blokes walking around saying skull and like, I mean, to me it looks like a lot of white power.
Yeah, it's a lightly veiled white supremacist activity.
That's kind of like LARPing. We're having a great time. Look at us all here.
It's for lads who are afraid to riot at football matches, and they just, that's what it is. Just get out there, rip a few chairs out of a stand, and fire them onto the pitch, and be a real man. And don't be running around LARPing pretending to be a Viking.
I know. I said it to herself. What way would she, stand on? If I wanted to get into
fascism.
Get into?
I would love if this is just the most accidental discussion where Tom outs himself as a fascist. Well, I mean, they did some good things as well as bad things.
I mean, it's not called a fashionable. I mean, the two words don't happen by accident with each other. I mean, just fight. But she like again. She's used to these questions from me, and she just looked at me. She's like, "Why? Like, it's like ask me what would I do if you ate a bag of shit? Like, it's never gonna happen. Like, you hate that shit.
Yeah,
you hate it with all your core." And I went, "Yeah,
but what if?"
Oh, of course, she absolutely punctured my balloon and went, "I'd love it, Tom. I think it'd be the coolest thing you'd ever do." I went,
yeah. Cheers, thanks for that.
That sat me down if ever there was a sitting down. That sat me down right there. Now shut the fuck up, you tit, coming out with that shit. But I was trying to put myself in the scenario of these blokes, like going, how do you approach the woman going, here, I'm tipping off for the weekend. I know you didn't see me all week, but I'm tipping off for the weekend to go pretending with the boys. Well, pretending what? Or pretending that we're from like the 1300s and we're invaders and raping and pillaging people. But it's just going to be a bunch of dudes hanging around in tents.
Drinking Corona.
Yeah.
That's what they'd be drinking, isn't it? They'd be drinking Coronas with wedges of lime.
Oh, where does that factor? Like when it was, I could never see myself standing in an off license and going, that's the one for me.
Yeah. 6-pack of Corona, please. and some taco shells.
You fellas like you and me should be allowed to wait outside off license, slapping Corona out of people's hands, smashing it over the
Bro,
crowd.
that Coors Light is another one. Coors Light.
Get the
Rock Shore. Jesus.
Get the fuck. That's for people that. It's along the lines of, again, it was a discussion I was having with somebody, and they were talking about the meat industry and how beef is getting very expensive and things, you know, and would you partake in lab grown beef? Because apparently they're getting really good at it now.
Yeah.
And I went, no, I don't think I should, but I definitely think the kind of people that would drink Rockshore and believe that their meat, do you know when they go, let stick their fingers in their ear when you go, so the slaughterhouse is just up the road, you know, where they open the throat just to that's the proper way to do it. Like, you know, if you want to drain the, it's kind of halal, but at the same time, it's the more honest, you know, and you get in, they go, oh God, no, I want to know. I just want to know it tastes good. And you're like, oh, you're eating it from a lab. You don't deserve.
100%. And look, let's be honest, Tom, remember the horse meat fiasco a few years ago? Yeah. Like, if they make lab grown meat cheaper than you can feed a bullock, you could be guaranteed we're going to be eating it without knowing it anyway. So, you know.
100%.
100%. But like, can I get 2 pounds of round steak minced there? Like, and your man's out the back whipping it up in a test tube on a Bunsen burner and lashing into a bag. It feels a bit warm. Yeah, that's grand. Off you go.
He just takes, it's just a whole row of USB sticks inside the fucking, and it's like, what was it, round mint? No problem. Just takes it up, uploads it into the computer. Yeah.
Thanks very much. A 20% profit for them, like, you know, Jesus Christ. I would eat it. Would you eat it? I'd eat it.
Of course, just out of
curiosity,
morbid curiosity. Like, but I don't know if they're like, if it tastes, as they say, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, if it takes bang on every single fucking time. No, I like to. I mean, yeah, they'll be able to make burgers, but like, are they going to be able to form
a steak,
a set of fucking short ribs?
And you like to kill your own animals too, so I'm not sure the lab would be much for you. Just you like the visceral bullet to brain sort of scenario.
No, I don't know if I like that. I don't know. I
sound like a reluctant serial killer who's going to do it anyway, but it's like, I'm not sure I like it, but I do it.
It's, you know, it's just like murdering people. It's the right thing to do sometimes, Brian. You know what I mean? We all it beats fucking LARPing anyway at the weekends. That's what it does.
That's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure.
But I enjoy the smugness in the fact that nobody can come at me. Yeah. Unless you're a fucking donkey, you can't come at, or you're the deer that actually, you know, are related to the deer. Like, but there's absolutely nobody. You can't come at me. You're like, what's your belt made of? Fuck.
Yeah.
You grow your own alfalfa beans.
Fuck.
No, and then shut the fuck up. You've got nothing. I've got a whole fucking list of our.
If you had an avocado tree in your spare bedroom, you do it. Yeah,
you don't. Exactly. So stop smashing them and feeling smug about yourself. You know. But yeah, I'd give it. I would definitely give it a go. And fucking meats that do fucking nothing for me, like chicken, make it all day long, because chicken only tastes good when you have to fucking add. Rarely. Rarely will a chicken fucking jump out and you go, well, that's the nicest chicken I've ever eaten with absolutely no condiments, sauces, seasoning.
It's the blandest. It's the blandest thing you can eat without anything on it. It's the blandest thing you can eat.
It is the most. So absolutely make that shit in a lab. With what KFC and the likes are selling now, it's the fuck.
Yeah. You should look at. You see the state of some chicken houses and the way chickens are bloody produced. Jesus, I'd rather it came from a lab.
That's exactly it. Like at least you go, well, you know, and if it's in the lab, you go, hey, any chance this one you could put make it taste like Coke? That's why not? Because chicken is shit. Otherwise,
can I get my chicken to taste like steak, please? Thank you. Just a chicken breast that tastes like a fillet steak. Even your brain would be melted. You'd be, what the fuck is going on?
Oh my god, we were. I was in Limerick a couple of weeks ago. I went to see Foynes direction. You're originally from.
Foynes, Foynes,
but we were in the city, and I just love Limerick. I love it. It's so easy to get in, get around. Everything is a straight line. Shit is where it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's the most orderly city in Ireland. Like it's
designed like an American city in blocks.
Yeah. I
You
love it.
can't go wrong. It's brilliant. It's so easy to get around. Yeah.
I love it. And everything is where it's supposed to be. Like, there's not an obscure fucking, oh, there's a quarter I have to go to. Is there to get,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But we went to see Paddy Cullivan's new show, The Murder of Michael Collins. You'd
Yeah.
you'd love
Good.
it.
Go ahead.
You'd love it. Yeah. It tests it pure, like, the entire thing is, what the fuck? What the fuck? And it's all just facts. It's just facts. Few people walked out.
Go away.
Yeah. Not, he didn't absolutely rinse any, any of the, and he left it to you to go, look, I'm not saying nothing, but at the same time, here's the evidence, like, do you know what I mean?
Jesus.
And like, there was a couple of people who were, they'd obviously he'd made mention of heroes or well-known people of the past who could be implicated in certain ways, and were in certain places that wasn't really documented at the time. And you're like, and you could see a few people just went, oh, fuck this. Oh, now, out of the 200 and odd, we're talking 3, but it was interesting.
3 people who preferred the Neil Jordan version.
Yeah. But we stopped on the way out, and because I was fucking mad for chips, and there's always good chips around Limerick, like, but it was late enough on like a Thursday.
It's Limerick. Of all the things you can say about a city, like, there's always great chips in Limerick. You're right, though. You're right. Yeah.
But I'm a simple man, Brian. I'm a simple man. I love a fucking bag of chips after a gig. It's getting better, like, and good chips.
Donkey Ford's or Luigi's.
Apparently, Donkey Ford's closed.
Is it?
Apparently, yeah.
Jeez, I haven't been down in a long time now. I've been in the city in ages. Jeez, that's a big shame.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable chipper. Oh, man.
They'd like 3 things they made, and they made them really well.
They made them well, yeah.
And one of those things was not customer service or manners.
No. Just stuff was horsed onto the paper, salt, vinegar, bang, boom, wrapped, gone, get out to fuck, But it was in one place you'd go in there, the queue would be constant, and you'd be in the queue. It was almost like, it was like the UN, right? It was like peaceful territory, because you'd have you'd have literal gangsters standing in the queue with gardaí, solicitors, accountants, scumbags, fucking, musicians. It was like there was an unwritten truce in Donkey Ford's. That's where if you went in, didn't matter who you were, like, you were there for the best food, and out you go.
It was like that hotel in John Wick.
That's about as posh a version as Limerick could do with the hotel in John Wick is the chipper. Yeah.
And it blew me away when I heard that. Now, I could be wrong. There'll be Limerick listeners going, what? I heard a rumor that it was closed, and for me, I was kind of going, why? It's not like you had a huge outlay to cover. Like,
no, sure, the place was there for forever.
Yeah, it was bought and paid for. Like, and literally, like, you just had to turn off the light and turn it on again. You would maybe there was not a big outlet, but anyway, that was the story we heard. And Luigi's, I kind of came at it wrong, so I didn't get to see that. But further out by Gary Owen, just after the prison, as you head out, would say, for the Barry Simon direction. Yeah. There's a chipper on the left that it has to be visited to be seen. It is the most Limerick aggressive. Like, when I've just been to see a piece of art, right?
You wax your mustache and everything that day. You're like,
I took the monocle out, right? Because I'm not a fucking lunatic. I was driving out and I brought my mother, right? It was a lovely evening. Mother and son had a great time debating about the fucking, the politics of early Ireland. Driving out, and I says, we'll get some chips. She went there. I think there might be one up along here. And it's got a strange name, like Scrooge's or something like that. I need to find it out, right? Because I was just fucking gobsmacked. And I pulled in, and there was this mother and daughter combo that were just having the most aggressive, affectionate row. It was just to any, like, do you know what's the shock? I'd seen this before in people, but like, if you just landed in from, say, California or something,
oh, your mind would be blown. Yeah,
it was phenomenal. Like, the way they were going, you are fucking wrecking my head all day. And the other one is back and going, should I cause a fucking right? And you're just toing and froing between. You all right, love? I'm like, I'll just have the chips, lady. trying to not. And this owl one comes in, and you know an owl one who you don't know if she's owl or fucked from fags and drink.
Yeah.
She
She's
comes
37.
Yeah,
and smokes major.
and she looks like, as Bill Burr, an age that you've never seen. Like, it doesn't, not because of the plastic surgery, because of the lack thereof of care. You know what I mean? And she comes shuffling in her slippers, and she just like, it was
seamless,
like,
straight in.
It was like Olympic how she just absorbed herself in, like a fucking, like, phenomenal how she's in between these two verbally, and she just like, no hello, no nothing. She just adore, pling pling, and I'm standing there. She's just like, don't leave your fucking mother alone, and she fucking rare you. And your one's like, yeah, but she's fucking, and they're just back and forth, and there's some old guy in the back just fucking stirring a huge pot of curry, just grinning at the world. Like,
free entertainment for your man.
But it was just standard. Like, they did not have, there was no, as I say, no badness in them. There was definitely badness in them. Like,
well, yeah, you can be sure of that. But there's like, I don't know, there's something about Limerick City, and I only discovered it when I left Limerick years ago, like, that the humor is very aggressive, and the slagging is ruthless. Like, ruthless between family, friends, people who are allegedly meant to love each other. And if you take that sense of humor out of Limerick, I remember the first time I went up around Galway, I think it was, and I was like in the pub, I'd met some new people, we're having a few drinks, and I can't remember what the story was. Somebody said something, and I started slagging them, like, just messing, like.
Yeah.
And they were like, why would you mock me like that? And I was like, what are you talking about? I'll mock you. And I was like, you big head in here or something, whatever the fuck I was saying. And they were like genuinely offended, like. And then everybody was looking at me like, why are you behaving like this? And I'm like, I'm sorry. And then slowly you lose that edge when you leave Limerick, like, but when you go back then like having a few drinks somewhere, and lads are just ripping the absolute shit out of you, and you're not able for it. Like, you're just not able for it because you're so out of it. You know what I mean? But it's definitely it's a humor and an identity and a way of being that is completely different to anywhere else I've ever been in Limerick, particularly the city. I think it's class. Like, it's so.
I love it.
Fun.
I loved it. I actually was. In that immediate thing, I was shocked, like, again, shocked back into the system, because I was like, I've been away for this for so fucking long, but immediately I was like, this is super entertaining. Like, this is phenomenal. I'd love them to give me some shit so I can get in. You know what I mean? Now, maybe on a neutral territory, right? Because this was
yeah. You know what? You wouldn't have made it out of that Tipper. Like, it's like, who's this fella from Tipperary?
Yeah, like, you know, I mean, straight away I've got a target on my back. But I love that, like, so many elements. This is Chipper has to be visited, by the way. They still had like 2004 prices, if you know what I mean.
Jesus, go ahead.
Yeah, do you know where Chipper's gone fucking mental lately?
Yeah,
like hold on.
Have you looked at, well, I don't know where you're living now, but like Deliveroo up here, if you want to order takeaway, Jesus Christ, Tom, I went on it the other night, I hadn't been on it in the ages, and I was like, you know what now, I won't cook it and get something in. And I was saying, look at Indian, Chinese, whatever, like $19.50 for one dish, but you'd be spending 40 quid for two main courses, like, and then you have a delivery charge on top of that. You could be spending 50, 60 quid. If you got let's say you got a bag of onion bhajis and 2 curries, and a delivery, you could be spending 50, 60 quid. That's mental. That's
Are you
insane.
serious?
Absolutely serious, yeah.
Like, a takeaway for 2 has to be under 20 quid, like, in my head.
Not anymore. Not like, you're talking more than double.
It has passed on, so it has moved.
It's mad. So I just went looking for the cheapest thing I could find. I ordered these 2 Greek pita roll things, right? I didn't know what the fuck they were. And it was like €9 each. And I was like, that'll do now. That'll fill us. Like, we won't want too much after that. Ordered them. I want to see the state of these things. Like, herself is looking at me going, what I was like, it's Greek. I mean, you've never had Greek before? Shush, live a little. Greek is fucking great. And I'm nearly puking eating the thing, like, absolutely rotten. But I wouldn't back down. I was licking my fingers. I'd have to, love Greek food.
Oh, I'd lick the fucking bag. To be a scumbag about it, I'd fucking lick the bag. Just going, delish. Absolutely delish.
Oh, God. Geez. Where would you get it for €9, huh? Beautiful. Mwah. Bellissimo, as they say in Athens.
This place, wow, I had no idea. Because we were ordering from Bray, because we were across the motorway from Bray, like, and you know, there was a couple of pricey places, and you go, I push it out to the 26 quid because it's Friday, you know, it's Saturday night, and we fucking, you know, go wild. And that was delivery and all included. Like, fuck me, it's gone there now, is it?
Oh, it's gone very dear, yeah. It's gone very dear. Gone very dear. Like tis mad. Tis mad. Everything's gone dear though, Tom. Jesus Christ. I drove to Cork. I was doing city limits there recently. And I drove down and drove back. And I hadn't driven that distance in a while. But thinking about it, like, and I drove down and I didn't know what was in the tank. I didn't know how much I had in the tank, but I drove down. I was on empty below Cork. And I says, right, I'll throw 35 quid in just to flake up the road a bit. Like, light on by the time we got home. 35 quid. I'm driving an Astra. Like, it's not like I'm driving a fucking tank.
Jeez.
$35, man. Cork to Dublin city centre. I was sitting there going, Jesus, sure, it's not viable to be bloody gigging outside Dublin now at those prices.
For the first time ever, I turned down a gig. Now it was in a new venue and stuff like that, and I felt really bad, like, because the guy's so nice and he'd seen me and stuff, and he was running a gig, but it was, I won't say what direction, but it was very far away.
Yeah.
And I literally calculated I went, dude, I
can't do it.
Like, I don't mind I get it. Okay, you could say, okay, people go, just it's fine to be getting that kind of money. And you're going, yeah, but motherfucker, but I had to put an 8-hour day technically driving. Like 4 hours there, 4 hours back, do the show, talk shit. It's a 10-hour, 12-hour day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind factoring all that in. Once you go, okay, make a few pounds, and you don't want to be considering the fuel. Well, fuck me.
You can't not consider it now.
Yeah. The price was nearly fucking the fuel. I was like, here, man.
No, it's cat. You have nothing out of it then, like you said, the driving and that, and like when you're starting out, grand, you go anywhere. You go anywhere for a gig, but then like you're like, when you're getting gigs in and you're getting decent gigs, you're like, Jesus, I want to be traveling all over the country here, like, when I don't need to, when you're not making it out of it, like when you factor your time in and you factor the fuel cost in now, it's mental, Of course, I'll still do it, but you know what I mean? It's just, you think about it a bit more now. You're less likely to take a random gig that you don't know is a proven gig or a proven venue. How is your tour going, by the way? That must cost you a fortune traveling the country doing flattered.
Do you know what was amazing is the two biggest selling venues are like 15 minutes up the road in Tipperary.
Go ahead.
Like sold out.
What's the Hill? Is that the name of the pub?
Yeah, never had comedy in ever.
Go ahead.
Never had nothing.
Same could be said for a lot of Tipperary though, Tom.
It's true. It's fucking true. It's fucking true. A lot of fucking weirdly funny, aggressive people, but again, it was
structured.
Not in any one direction. But here's the thing. I won't say I had high hopes, but I was like, as they say, profiting their own fucking whatever. This could be fucking diabolical. Like, but both approached me 2 times.
Oh, brilliant.
So I went, okay, well, let's give it a fucking whirl. Fuck me. The first one, not even a poster put up, and it sold 2 nights in like a few days. I was like, Jesus. And the other one, then I was getting worried because she wanted to sell it over the counter and stuff like that. And I said, I'll sell it online, I'll send it through Eventbrite, as well. So
on the web.
You tell me when you need tickets and I'll drop them in. Look, just take names. She had a handful taken. I was kind of going, because the uptake of the other place, which is only like 5 minutes out the road, but it's into the back of Beyond's, not in a town at all. Like,
yeah.
Like in a tiny village where it leads only to the mountain, like where the people, they go, like, it's a great community, actually. It's actually a lovely community.
I love the way you held your hands out around your own face, though, as the way you were described. They have huge heads in this place. Are they huge heads? Yeah.
Here's the thing, Brian. I looked at the room first and went, geez, we get 90, 100 people in here.
It's on their heads.
And she just the woman pulled me up and she went, what fucking planet are you living on? Have you seen the size of the men around here? And her husband walked in, 6'4", shoulders like a fucking gate. And he went,
like shovels.
Oh, you're Tom. I went, oh, geez. She goes, that's Will. And that's...
They call it small Will.
Yeah. This is it. And she was right. Wait, she says, we'll put no more than 70. We put 70, I think 74 tickets on sale, sold out. And she kind of went, and on both nights, I think she put another 2 people, skinny folk, somewhere. Yeah. But she got them in, but both nights it was like 76.
Jeez, that's great.
And not a fucking fag hair could you get between them, like. I mean, and like big, broad men.
Yeah.
Like blokes. You'd only see one of these fellas in a room normally in a comedy club. You know what I mean? They were all big mountains of men. You're like, oh, fuck me, right? This is actually a thing. Like, you joke about it. Like,
yeah. No, it was real. Yeah.
It's real. You would not fit, like, this room was much bigger than the International. And you would, in the International, illegally will fucking crowbar 90 people in.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
Not a prayer and fuck. You'd get 50 of these men in, or this audience, full stop. Like
huge.
But yeah, so it's in that sense been going great. Belfast was the furthest, but I opened there, and because I knew it would sell well in Belfast, weirdly.
Yeah.
But because I gig up there so much, and an awful lot of my listeners from Belfast, it sold very well. But by the time, again, when you factor, but I just wanted to do it. I wanted to do it for me, Brian. But
for yourself, you're dead
but
right.
At the same time, you know, you do have to go buy the price of a packet of crisps on the way home. But
at the end of this,
it worked out fine. Yeah. So
very good. Well, no, it's great. Like, it's great to see, and it's great to see you doing that tour. And you look at the likes of Bernard Casey doing his rural pub tour, and it goes to show that there's a demand in places that have never had proper stand-up comedy shows, like, or proper shows. You know what I mean?
It was Bernard that was my inspiration. Truth be told, I was always going to try and take it to a couple of the usual spots.
Yeah.
I did one of the shows with Bernard, and he was just something synced in my brain. I went, oh, this, and I've had people go, oh, of course, sure, culture. And I mean, and I was going, nobody coming to this knows me from Adam.
Yeah.
And here's the one thing they might know me from: playing a posh Dublin fella on a television years ago.
Playing someone they hate.
So don't for a second think that I've some sort of fucking culture whisperer thing where I can go around, the marts on a fucking Wednesday and go, come see me now at the weekend.
Yeah, here's a pack of sausages.
There's none of that, So, but what Bernard showed me is that there's rakes of people, and actually, what we don't see, because we live in a fucking little echo chamber micro bubble where we think every move and everything that happens is desperately important, whereas 99 point fucking to the decimal point to the power of fucking 50 don't know nor give one
flying fuck
about what's going on with us. So I know what I found from these people was none of them have been to live comedy before. None. And
how were they as an audience, Tom?
Amazing. But you had to kind of fucking...
Had you to lay it out in the beginning how this is going to work?
A little bit, but not too much. Like the first night, there was a couple of ones who actually, weirdly, they'd done coke, and they were just a fucking mess in the front row, and they were having a fucking awful time at my opener, like, and I went, oh, you fucking cunts, and everybody in the room kind of knew him, and they didn't want to fucking say, which I was surprised, because I remember doing a gig years ago with John Cleary in Cashel, right, in Cashel Rugby Club. The greatest audience member that ever existed was this old one, right? She was about halfway up. I did 40 minutes. The beginning break brought John on. These couple of young ones then kind of wandered in. I think they worked in the local pharmacy. They were all fucking done up to nice. They didn't give a fuck. They just wanted to be at the rugby club. They're mouthing as loud as fuck. So they'd learned no audience etiquette in the first half, right? They're mouthing as loud as fuck, and nobody wants to go near them because they know them, and this local shit. And I'm going to go down to them and try and be polite and go, girls, can you just take it down? But as I'm about to sit up, this woman stood up about midway, and she went, John, can I stop you there for 1 second? And he says, yeah. Would you three ever shut the fuck up or fuck off? Everybody went ballistic, right? She turned around and said, fire ahead there, John.
I love that.
Cleary spent 10 minutes on her. He spent 10 minutes. It was fucking amazing.
That's like something a teacher would do, isn't it? That's like something a teacher would have the balls to do. Like, you know what I mean? Shut the fuck up.
This woman had paid her 10 or 15 quid, and she wasn't getting any value with these cunts behind her. So she put manners on them. Like, it was fucking brilliant to see it.
If more people were like that, wouldn't it be great? Because there's nothing worse than chatty people in a room and nobody wants to say it to them. Like, the venue, especially in the countryside, the venues don't want to offend anyone. No one wants to. So they come here every month, or they had the christening in such a place and blah blah. Nobody wants to say a fucking word to anyone. Like,
it happened. Weirdly, the weirdest one I ever heard was it was in Limerick one night. It was a gig in Jerry Flannery's cocktail bar.
Yeah. Something 13, is that what it's called?
Yeah. And there was a gang of lads. They obviously all work for the same civil servant pod, right? Because you could tell they were from young, like early 20s up to like fucking 55. And the Gas Owl lads were giving it loads, right? And they're giving it loads to the first act. They're giving it loads to the host. And I'm furious because I'm back doing stand-up and I fucking love this shit. And I'm sitting up in a balcony bit. And nothing has been done to bury these cunts. Like a few kind of, but they're just chiming in at all the wrong times. And there's a polite audience there kind of going, and they were just back out of lockdown. Like, so people were kind of going, oh. And these lads obviously thought that this is what you do because they'd heard British, stag shit.
Yeah.
And I said to the manager, I said, man, I'd advise you now to go down and have a word with the lads because I'm going up in a minute now. And I'm going to do some really, really fucking vile things to these fellas. Like things now that would get you arrested, like in the normals. Anyway, I was like, Jesus, no, like, it's a bit awkward. Like, what do you mean a bit fucking awkward? You're the manager. He went, yeah, but one or two of them are locals and stuff. Sure, is this not what happens in comedy? I went, no, nobody paid.
I hate that perception. Sure, isn't that? Aren't I helping the show? Aren't they great crack? Oh, they are, yeah, for taking the air out of about 12 punchlines, like, and the audience are looking at you then like you're the one who's what that joke made no sense. It's because these breaks wouldn't shut up, like,
But speaking of which, anyway, fucking enough about me, Edinburgh. It sounded like you had an absolute hoolie.
It was good, yeah. It was. You should look at Edinburgh's Edinburgh. Like it's a lot of hard work, and it's fairly mental,
You never get too far ahead of yourself with Edinburgh, do you? You're like, look at that.
Look, Edinburgh's Edinburgh. Sure. No,
half of it would have been enough, lads. To be honest,
I gotta fight. I should have only gone for a day, really. No, it was good, Tom. It was good. It's look, Edinburgh's mayhem. It's like there's over 4,000 shows on every day, and you're out there trying to get people to come to your show, like, you know what I mean? So it's fairly intense, and then you're doing other gigs. It's like when you get back, it's like getting off a travelator, like, or to make that relevant to you, like a moving footpath. Have you heard of it? One of those moving footpaths?
No, please. Well, where would these footpaths be bringing you? Anywhere in particular? Just like obviously shooting or off to eat some hay somewhere, I assume.
Well, great assumption there, Tom. But you'd be wrong. No, it's like getting off a really fast travelator when you get home from Edinburgh, and then you're surrounded by normal people with normal lives, do normal things, and you're like, Jesus, this is like, it's like you've time traveled or something. It's like you're in a different planet completely when you come back, because all you're doing is living, breathing comedy for a month. I mean, every hour of every day from the minute you get up to the minute you go to bed, it's all comedy related. Like every person you meet is a comedian. Everything you do is about your show or other shows, and it's just non-stop. The minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, and it's exhausting, but it's the dream, really, like, because it's the kind of exhaustion you get from something you love doing. Do you know what I mean? It's not the kind of exhaustion you get from working in a call center. Do you know what I mean? It's like where you just literally come home going, oh, geez, I want to die. Well, it's that exhilarating exhaustion where you hit the pillow. You're like, yeah, I've done something all day long that I love doing. And there's nothing better than that. So I had a good run. To be fair. Like, I was full. I think I came home for a couple of days in the middle this time for something. And I think I did 22 shows of my own. And I was full, sold out about 17 or 18.
Stop. That's amazing.
But I've had a good record every year I've gone, and that's from pounding the footpaths and talking to people and postering the whole city and flyering the place and that's all that kind of stuff. You have to do it.
In a microcosm that, like, people, will ask, like, is somebody a funnier comedian or a better comedian than if they're not known? You're kind of, because I've tried to tell people there are comedians you've never heard of that would smash most of the comedians you see on television. Like, they'd smash them. Like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're like, well, what's the reason? And that's literally being known. That's it. That's literally it. And in a micro fucking snapshot, you made yourself fucking known. You're like, come fucking see me. As you said, there's 4,000 fucking shows. No doubt yours is going to be good. There's going to be other good ones.
Of course, there's going to be thousands of good ones. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Like, my show was a good show. There are probably a lot of shows that were great shows, and then a lot more shows that were shit shows. So, you know what I mean? If you're doing a good show and you're able to sell and you're able to chat to people and you're personable, a lot of people go over and they just expect people to show up and they're celebrating. Like, you'll see social media posts like, oh, great, I really love being here. I feel like I'm growing as an artist. Like, the only thing you should be posting is my room is full or I want to give up comedy. That's the two things. Not, God, it's just, I mean, it was 3 in, but God, they were lovely. That would be fucking, if I had 3 people in my room, Tom, I'd fire myself off the top window. I wouldn't be able to. I can't gig to 4 or 5 people. I can, but I don't want to. I'm not going there to do that.
Oh, it's the hardship of it. Like Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
just torture.
Yeah,
Like, you might as well be
the
having a
first year, the first couple of days of the first year I ever did it, it was kind of that. I went, oh, I'm going home. Oh, this is fuck this. This is terrible. But then I kind of got good with flyering and nattering with people and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden rooms were full and
Yeah.
it quickly swung back. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, and that's the thing. You get a fucking mental condition from Edinburgh because 1 minute you're on an absolute high,
Oh yeah.
and then it's. But
Well,
you
there's
do it.
like there's a couple they talk about it. Well, comedians go on about it all the time. Like the fringe flu. Minute you
Yeah.
come home, like now I was foolish. I was meant to take a few days off, but I didn't. I booked in gigs the week I was back, and I booked in a full week of gigs here, and I was flat out doing those, and I was burnt out, completely burnt out. And then your mood takes a massive dip because you're coming from essentially the Disneyland of comedy.
Yeah.
Back home where people are like living their lives like normal people around you, and you're like, what is this place? Why am I not back in who are these people, you know? So your mood takes a massive dip, and then your body shuts down because your body just goes, hold on a minute here. You're not having your lunchtime pint anymore. You're not eating a hot dog at 2 a.m. You're not like running around the city up hills every bloody day. Okay, time for a bit of repair. And you just crash, like your body just goes, here's the flu, here's diarrhea, here's something else, like, and you're just fucked emotionally and physically. I'm really selling Edinburgh to people here, I'm saying, but it's just you're a shell when you come back. Like it takes a few weeks to get back into being a normal human again after Edinburgh. Like, but I wouldn't change it for the world. If I could do Edinburgh, the 3 weeks or whatever it is, 3.5 weeks of Edinburgh, and then take a 10-day holiday somewhere sunny, and then do it again and do that forever, I'd love it.
It still amazes me the amount of people, actual punters. Do you know what I mean? That actually show up in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Isn't it like you couldn't have an Edinburgh here?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, because people are, there just isn't the discipline to go see anything arty at all. Like
there isn't the real appetite to support. Like,
no,
people will go to things, but they'll go reluctantly. Like, you know, I suppose I'll go out. So yes, you know, there's no like, yeah, do you know what? That's brilliant. Let's do that. Let's go see this new comic who might be good. You know, they're all like, oh, I never heard of that fella, or I never heard of that one. You know, it's very negative here, very negative. Very negative. But what can you do? You know, that's just the way we're built. We're negative, people.
I suppose what I was kind of getting around to was the shock of the rural thing was now obviously Bernard has a huge following. And he's selling out every place. But the handful of places I've tried, and I'm definitely going to make more inroads next year, the handful of places I tried, they did fucking really well. And they didn't really need to know who I was. Do you know what I mean? They might have had, was he on that thing? Oh, he's in the thing.
Yeah.
But they're kind of going, there's nothing else to be doing. There's nothing. And
we might as well. Yeah.
Once you get a few of them, a few of the lads and a few popular people, once they start, and people go, well, if they assume it's good enough, then I'd say it's good enough. What's the option?
Yeah.
Do you know, what's the other option like?
It's the television, or we go down to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's literally that.
Yeah. And you know what? When they do, here's the thing, Brian, they all come away knowing your fucking name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And remembering you. And next time you're back, they'll come see you, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I think that's my route. I think for me is
when you're almost creating your own little Edinburgh, if you know what I mean, in a way, because like I had Cork people. I don't know why Cork people in Edinburgh kept coming to my show.
I love that. Like
just but randomly all from Cork, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, it's a good show, fair enough, but like every day, random Cork people, like 8 Cork people in a group, and I'm like,
really?
I'm like, hey, how you doing? And it would have been one of them worked with another Cork person who had been to the show 3 days before with the boyfriend and had mentioned it. And Cork people, if a Cork person tells a Cork person to do something, they'll fucking do it.
Jesus Christ, we need to hone in on that.
Yeah, there's something there, because if you get a recommendation, Cork person to Cork person, people will show up. I had people show up. It's a funny story of this year, but last year I had this girl showed up with her friend, and then she liked the show so much she came back with a bigger group of friends, and then she came back again with more friends. Like again, Cork, right? She came back with she must have brought 15 or 16 people to the show, because she just thought it was great crack and she loved it. And then this year I had a girl show up. She was doing a play over there. I wonder if she'll hear this when I share it on my story. But she was doing a play. She saw me gig in a tennis club in Dublin, of all the places you want to be gigging, right?
A tennis club,
right? I took this gig thinking it'd be a nightmare, like, you know, collars up sort of stuff, but it was pretty much a load of country people. And the reason this tennis club gig was full, right? There was about 4 people on all the big court. You could see out the window the courts. There were 12 courts. There were 4 people on the courts. The bar was packed before the show. And I went up. I said, I'll have 1 Guinness now before the show. And I went up and I said, pint of Guinness there, please. And she goes, that's $4.20. And I went, what? $4.20. And then I was chatting to these boys with Sligo, who look now, I'd say if they never held a tennis. The only time they held a tennis ball, I'd say was throw it for a fucking Labrador, right?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Right? Never a clue about tennis. They were leaning up against the wall, big pop bellies on them. And I was like, well, lads, what's the crack anyway? You know, they were like, oh, yeah. I said, you play a lot of tennis? They were like, it's like this now. The monthly subscription fee for this place, if you drink 10 pints Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
yes,
you've made your money back. And I'm like, fucking hell, lads. You know, it's a private bar. So anyway, she saw me at that gig, which I didn't even meet her that night. Saw me at the gig, and she showed up at Edinburgh because she was doing her own one-woman play somewhere over there. She showed up to the gig and she said, I saw you in the tennis club in Dublin, and I said I'd come to your show. And I was like, all right, that's unusual, but cool, yeah, nice one. And then she came. The next day she came back. She came that night with her boyfriend, I think. Then the next night she came with her parents because they were over to see her play. The next night she came with 5 friends who were over to see her play. Then she came about 4 days later with 1 lone friend who wanted to go because all the others have been talking about the show. And she was like, I'd love to go to the show. And the one was like, I can't go again. He'll rip the shit out of me. Like, and she came in, and sure enough, I was like, are you well? Are you all right? Like, this is your 5th time coming to this show, you know? So that kind of stuff really makes it worth it. You know what I mean? To see something, especially because I was watching her in the audience, like on her 3rd or 4th or 5th gig, like, could see her. And, she's preempting punchlines. You could see her face lighting up before a punchline, and she turned to her friend, almost kind of going, "Oh, this is a good bit now. This is the bit I was telling you about, or something, you know." And then I'd land a punchline, and she'd be like, "Oh, delighted!" Like a child who's opened a present again, even though they saw the present already. They open it again. They're like, "Oh, I love this." You know, the opening of the present is what I love, not the present. So it's just you get a real buzz off that kind of stuff, you know.
I often because there's often so often in your head. I think, fuck, I can't. I'm terrified that there's people who've seen the show before, so you're seeing my stuff before, and you're kind of going, are they going to get annoyed at me telling the same? Because in my head, you're supposed to, you know, they think that it's a fresh slate every night, like, you know.
Yeah.
But not the case. A couple came to both those nights that were sold out and came to the night in the Hill.
Go away.
And like, they go to everything. Like, they would come see me in the Limerick Panto. They would go see, like,
jeez, that's mad.
And
it's great though, isn't it?
But it's mad for Ireland. Do you know what I mean? Like, because
it is.
I don't have a huge agency. I don't have a fucking marketing team. I don't have a television show telling them that I'm funny. They just went, "Oh, this is
Shed in a podcast." It's pretty good.
This is our bloke." And I'm going, yes, I fucking am. And they're sitting there. And after the second time I've seen the show, and also if they've paid for a fucking 3rd dose, they want it they love it. And they want it.
Yeah.
But it's still, but inside me, there's a kind of thing going, oh, don't be looking at me.
Oh, God. Don't be looking at me. They've seen this already. The fear. Yeah. You almost feel a weird tinge of shame.
Oh, yeah. There's it's not even a weird tinge. It's absolute shame. I'm like, I'm sorry. And they're like, no, it's a beautifully crafted fucking show that we really enjoyed the first 2 times, and we'd like to see it again, please.
Like, see it again. Well, at least they understand that. I mean, I actually saw somebody sharing a clip today. I can't remember, one of those European comics. One of them European comics on the continent. And he was sharing a clip of a gig where a woman interrupts, and she was talking to her friend, and he says, why are you talking, or you're not really enjoying the show? And she goes, I saw you like last week, and it's just disappointing. It's the same jokes. And he was like, I always love when people come and I have to explain to them that this is not improvised comedy. It's a show. Have you heard of Romeo and Juliet? Like, if you read it once and read it again, would you be like, this is a joke, man? Same fucking story. And I was like, that's the perfect way of explaining it.
Perfect.
Perfect way. Like, would you go to a Shakespeare play and be like, fuck this? Last time I saw it, it was the same. Of course, it's a show. Of course, it's the same, you know. Imagine looking at imagine seeing somebody 1 week apart and expecting them to have a totally new hour of killer jokes. I don't think people realize what goes into creating comedy, what goes into creating a fucking 10-minute set, not a mind creating an hour. The work that it takes is unbelievable. People have no appreciation or understanding for the work that goes into creating a show, which is why.
Nor would I want them to,
not the detail, but you want people to appreciate this is this is a lot of work this man is presenting to you here. This is whoever
Well,
is
here's the
you,
thing,
you know?
Brian. I got an eye opener in that we think we're magical and all the rest of it, and that the whole world is watching us, and that everything is so important and so dramatic every time it happens. But I'm a guy at that first rural show in I should call it the Market Stone is the name of the place, and he came up to me, he was smoking a fag out the side, and all like you get giddy old lads who don't know what to do with their emotion, and they just start telling you jokes and stories because they think you want. And years ago, I would have been, well, you shut the fuck up in my head, but I know what it is. They've never, do you know, they would have seen fucking, somebody like in the 70s tell jokes, and they're just giddy. They don't know what to do with their emotions. So I was reveling in it, in the glow of it, that these people, it was just lovely. But this one guy, he says, he looked real like a fella in a fucking, he just had to give bad news or something to a CIA agent. Do you know what I mean? He was kind of in a darkened part of the alleyway out the side. He went, smoking the face. Jesus Christ. I went, you all right? He went, I have never, ever conceived where a comedian comes from or how it's been, how they are. And he aligned it. Now, I had to tone him back as well. He aligned it with how he never conceived of how astronauts come about. They're just fucking well there, and that's that. So we don't need to think anymore about that. And I was like,
I'm no Neil Armstrong. Yeah.
But I'd say he was just voicing. Actually, he'd found that in his brain, and most people in the room probably didn't. But I'd say had he said it aloud, I'd say 50-60% would have went, Actually, I never once considered where the fuck they're just there on
where you come out of, like,
it was nearly too much, and that was what was glorious. It was like, so I cracked your brain open basically and implanted a new thing into it. This is fucking great.
Well, that's class, like. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that, like, you know. I used to get annoyed by that stuff as well. The whole, did you hear the one about? And then they relay a joke that's been around for 100,000 years, and they're like, you can have that one now if you want. Cheers. I used to get annoyed about that, but now I just, it's just people trying to be nice, trying to be relatable. That's all it is. It's people just being people, being human.
I think as I get older, I'm starting to kind of be more forgiving of people's fucking awkwardness. Do you know that kind of way? Because it's fine. It's fine for us. Like you and I public speak as well as doing comedy, so you're well calculated in what you're going to say. Like a lot of the time, and people a lot of the time, it's just they don't actually practice even talking.
No,
because they're driving a truck all week, listen to the radio.
Yeah.
When they do talk to people, it's in jumbled out shite like, she wouldn't fucking belong now for that old shite. There's no muscle. There's no muscle being stretched.
Stock phrases. I do hate stock phrases.
Oh
my God.
Say nothing. I mean,
wear you down, like.
I had to laugh. The missus came out with one the other night, and the two of us looked at each other and just started howling, laughing. I said something, and she was, I don't know, ordering Tesco's or something, and she just went, along the lines of, that's more of it. No, you know yourself.
yeah.
And I stopped and I just looked, and she looked up and realized, wow, I didn't even search through the handbag of my mind for that. That was, and she was annoyed at herself. But the two of I just went, if you ever come out with something like that again,
sure, you wouldn't be long feeling the winter drawn in now.
This shit. Do you know what I mean?
Just say nothing. Just say nothing.
Fucking nothing, and we make it a policy to pull people, pull each other up on this. But it was a while since she came out with something so just fucking vacuous, like and just
autopilot. That's what it is.
Autopilot.
Your brain is just going, I can't be thinking. Here's autopilot. Here's a few random phrases for you.
Just relax it. Just don't fucking say anything at all.
Chill out.
That was one thing I used to love when I used to get the haircut with a foreign barber, like a Eastern European. When they came around first, they wouldn't fucking say one thing to you.
No, pure silence, stony face silence. Yeah.
And then at the end, your hair is cut. There's no, do you like it? There's not. It's done now.
Money, please, thank you.
Yeah. Get the fuck. And they slowly but surely they got Irishified, and then you're sitting there and it's like, so going anywhere nice and holidays. You're like, come on.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, it'll wither you. I used to get my hair. I haven't had a haircut in a while because I used to. I'm very what's the word? I'm very I don't know, get very loyal to barbers. I don't trust people in general.
Okay, do you?
So, so I used to go to this guy in Limerick, JC's Barber Shop. If anybody's in Limerick, great place.
I know it. Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, out
Yeah.
the Ennis Road. I used to go there an awful lot. Man's genius, great guy. And then obviously when I left Limerick, I found a place in Galway, Gallagher's in Galway, that I'd go to an odd time if I'm in Galway. And
Was that purely based on you're like?
No, I met him once, and he seemed sound, and I'd seen other lads who'd beards get their beards trimmed, and I was like, well, he hasn't fucking fucked them up, so I'll go to him.
Fair enough.
So if I'm in Galway, I go to him. But then I found this lad in Dublin, because I was getting too expensive to keep driving.
I was just thinking, fucking hell.
Yeah, I would go to Limerick like for a haircut, or I'd go to Galway for a haircut, right? So I said,
down around your arse, like just going. Yeah, it's been 3 years, but look, can you do something for me?
Yeah, please help. So I then said, right, I better find someone in Dublin, and I saw this lad on Instagram or something, and he was like trimming a beard or something. I was like, oh, this guy looks like he knows what he's doing. Billy the Barber Kid, right? Is his handle on Instagram. This guy he's about 18, right? So I was like, Jesus, can I trust an 18-year-old to cut my hair and do my beard? So I went into this barber shop where he was working, and he did my beard, did a decent job, did the hair, that was grand. And then I messaged him a few weeks later. I was saying, oh, might pop in again or whatever, and he goes, oh, I'm moving barbershop, and he moved to a different place. So I followed him to that place, and then he moved again, and I followed him to that place, right? So I was going to 3 different shops to get my hair cut.
You're getting creepy now at this stage. I don't mind saying, like,
yeah, well, 18, Tom. He was 18, but no.
Gorgeous.
But he says to me one day, like, he didn't do much small talk, which is fine by me, initially. And then he was trying to chat anyway, so I was trying to chat back, and I was like, so what do you have for the weekend anyway? And he goes to me, oh, it's my girlfriend's Debs now. And I was like, fuck, man. I'm like, literally, we've nothing in common here. There's no point us talking. Just, you fire ahead there, good lad. Do the hair, whatever. Wow. Do the hair and the beard. Like, what am I supposed to say to that? Like, going to your Debs, I'm like, I don't even remember the Debs, to be honest. So what am I supposed to say to you?
Yeah,
zero,
you pulled the rug from under me there, because I'm thinking, fuck, I could roll with something here, ask him about fucking Fortnite or something, or whatever the fuck these kids are into. I don't know, but he says Debs, and you're like, wow.
I was just like, I'm not even gonna bother wasting your time talking to you here, because we're on 2 different generational planets completely for conversation.
Wow.
In a barber chair, yeah. But he was deadly, and he moved to fucking Sweden. There's
loads of beards in Sweden, sure.
Man.
The man's a genius.
He's over in Sweden now.
You go where the fucking action is.
Yeah, he's over there now, and which is devastating for me, because I've had my hair cut once in Dublin since he left, and I've been in Galway for one, and I think I might have to go to Limerick for one again. I don't trust barbers, man. I don't trust them. It takes me a lot. I have serious trust issues with my hair and my beard. I can't be handling it.
God, we came full circle back around to the fucking hair again.
Back to the hair. It's all about the hair.
Would you not go to Sweden?
I'd fly over to Stockholm, paying €97 for a haircut, and 120 for the flight. Yeah, fair point, Tom. Maybe I'll go.
I'm still not seeing a downside here. Come on, we're loaded comedians, for fuck's sake.
I'll set up a gig over there just to cover the cost of a haircut. Can you imagine? Selling out 150 seater in Stockholm just to cover the cost of a haircut.
Do you know what? I bet you fucking would. I bet you would.
Jesus.
It's just put a plait up the fucking middle of it and start pretending to be a Viking.
Yeah. We're back to LARPing again now, aren't we?
Okay. I opened for a guy. It was the weirdest opening / it was the first ever gig I ever headlined. It was in a restaurant on Smithfield.
Yeah.
And who was fucking running it? Gary Lynch or somebody, and he liked me, but I was only doing comedy like 2 years or something. But I was, of course, bouncing with confidence, like, and I could string 30 minutes together. Truth be told, like, that's it. Let's be honest, like, and
which is more than most people have now out of 10 years. Not a mind, fucking 2 years.
Yeah. That's fucking It is still amazes me when I run across guys. I'm like, whoa.
Same 10.
Wow. You're holding up, you're doing your bit about the fucking iPhone fucking 4. I'm like, fuck. But it was for Magnus. He's a huge act in Scandinavia, right?
Magnus Magnuson is in my head for some reason.
Magnus Magnuson was one of the strongmen.
Yeah.
It was like Magnus Betson was your guy's name. He's a huge act over there.
Yeah.
Not hilarious, like very dry, but
Right,
not.
right, right, right.
I don't know how he rose to huge fame, but anyway, he packed this fucking place with like blonde people, right? And he was actually doing a bigger gig that the following night somewhere in Dublin, and he just decided he told him that day, he was like, I'm just going to go on first, can the other guy just close it out? So it was like, oh,
That's odd.
am I a headliner now? And he was like, yeah, will you headline, because these are going to be wild, and I'm not in the mood for wild fucking Scandinavians. I'm like, but they're your wild Scandinavians.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And he went up and died in his bollocks. It was the weirdest thing. Not
Go
died
away
in his,
to his own people.
it's died is the wrong word, but by today's standards, knowing what I know, it's like, oh, that wasn't
Wasn't
why
great.
those
Yeah.
are your people. They were just really fucking drunk and happy that there was a Scandinavian comedian,
Yeah, didn't matter what he was saying, like.
and but it just didn't go great. And I remember going out, like, and I went, well, the only way to attack angry people, fucking sauced up people, is to attack them and
Yeah,
go after everything they hold dear. You know what I mean? So a quick Google will tell you everything that was invented in fucking it must be in Sweden, I think.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just go to fucking town on it. And there was none of it genius. Do you know what I mean? Going
Just
after
fun.
IKEA.
Yeah,
Going after
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
IKEA.
But that's what that crowd wants, like. That's what that crowd wants. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Nothing fucking cerebral. They just wanted to be fucking shouted at. But
Yeah.
what I noticed was there's a massive want, and comedy is part of like English in university over there. Like, it is spoken
really?
word.
Yeah.
There was a time, the International, every couple of weeks, I remember I'd be doing it, and there'd be a group in a class of 30
Yeah.
blonde-haired, blue-eyed people sitting with a person who'd be slightly older than them, and they would come up then afterwards and go, do you mind if I ask you some questions? And like, what the fuck? The first time was like the most bizarre shit. And then they explained, they went, well, you raised an inflection there. I'm thinking, there's no point in me telling you about raising inflections. You sound like a tumble dryer when you speak.
Yeah.
You have no grasp of vowels but they wanted to know the nuances and why.
And why you were doing it.
Yeah. And
do you know what? You just reminded me. I was doing a gig in somewhere, maybe a year ago in Dublin. And there was like 20 Norwegian kids in. And they were definitely Norwegian, and their teacher was with them. And we didn't pass any remarks. They'd emailed ahead looking for tickets, and we gave them tickets or whatever to this show. And they were all there. And like that, at the end, they were asking lots of questions. And somebody I thought mentioned studying comedy, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I was like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. But now that you mention it, that must have been the same scenario then. They studied as part of their English language in university over there, or in schools or something. That was mad now.
I think the reason the teacher was a great foresight from the teacher, because they would say, well, you'll see English and the spoken word and in action properly. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For a theatrical sense, and it won't be a play you can read afterwards. It'll be original from a person. So it was a fucking good idea. Like, now, if you're up there and you're fucking enlightened, which is what we're doing, like, you're kind of going, what are they fucking learning from this? Only swear words.
Yeah. Learning how to survive in a country pub if attacked by Norwegians.
Suffering sweet Jesus. That's so what's the goal now after Edinburgh? Are we going to see this show?
Oh, I just want to get over the depression, Tom.
Well, I guessed as much. I've given you a good chipper to go home to. I've complimented you from top to tail.
You have. This has been a great experience.
It's therapeutic. I didn't even hit record. I'm not even putting this out.
This is just a therapy session.
Just us having our fucking affair.
Do you know what? If you set that up, Tom's therapy session, I swear to God, man, that'd be absolutely. I'd pay for that now before I'd pay a professional. To be honest, I'd say I'd come out in better shape chatting to you than I would a psychologist. I'd love to tour the show, and I'm thinking about touring the show, but I haven't any set plans in place to do it. I changed the name of the show because I called it like just something daft to get attention in Edinburgh.
Yeah, of course.
The show was called, what was it called again? Another Funny Irishman, blah blah diddly diddly. Which was just
it's perfect.
Just to take the piss out of people who overham the Irish end of it.
Yeah.
And also at the same time to let them know I'm Irish. So
we all know that secret.
Yeah, a little bit of both. But so I'd have to change the name of the show, but that's not a big deal, I would love to tour the show, and I think I might, but I'm actually thinking of doing a little maybe mini European tour in February or March, and then come back and do a few shows here. Maybe, you know, the usual Dublin, Galway, Limerick, blah blah blah. 5 or 6 locations, do a show. I think it'd be good fun to do here, because I've done hours in Edinburgh now 3 times, and I've never toured my own show here ever.
You have to. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna suck balls fucking having to push it here as well. Like, but you just have to, because the pride is one thing to do Edinburgh, but the pride of actually fucking filling a room, or just at the very least doing well in a room of your own people.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
there's
nice.
you sit back into the car or you sit down with the pint and you're like, oh, that's
sweet now. Yeah,
that's
you're
sweet.
buzzing. Yeah,
it's kind of it's pretty much like your parents being proud of you, which neither one of us know anything about. Like,
no, I was just going to say, I don't understand the construction of that sentence.
I'm only assuming that, you know what I mean. That's...
Hey, comedians, what's the odds their parents are proud?
Just get them nice chips from a chipper in Garryowen. They'll be all right.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I don't plug much, but I was going to say I am, because I never know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm doing a gig, and she'll kill me if I don't plug it. The Wild Geese, you know?
Yes, with
Laura Lavelle and Breda Larkin.
Breda's been on. Yeah. We talked all about trees.
They're doing. Yeah, she loves trees, man. She's
fucking
mad about
loves
trees.
them, by.
Yeah, she wants to plant every farm in Ireland with oak trees, and the cattle have to weave in around them. I don't know how it's going to work. That's the plan. But they're doing a cabaret in Limerick.
Brilliant.
On the 29th of October. So there's going to be the usual, you know, burlesque and cabaret and madness and mayhem, and they stick a comedian in the middle of that, and I happen to be the comedian this time. So look, I don't know if you've ever done those shows, but they're always wild and great crack, and a very different audience. Cabaret audiences are really supportive of the acts, like
unbelievable,
like whooping and hollering and cheering and yeah, baby, and then you're like, it's almost too much for a stand-up. Like,
it's unbelievable. I've hosted 1 or 2 things where the people in the audience, they're like their friends, and if you had your fucking soulmates of, like, if you were part of fucking SEAL Team 6, and they were all in the audience, they would not give you the love that people in burlesque and whatchamacallit
and cabaret. It's unreal. That's the Commercial Bar in Limerick on the 29th of October. I think tickets are on the door, but you can probably find stuff online for the Commercial Bar. I think it's called the Wild Geese Cabaret or something. Class. So that's my main thing in Limerick, and then I'm just follow my Instagram for everything else, I guess. Brian Gallagher, at Brian Gallagher, and then all my gigs are usually up there and stuff I'm doing in Dublin. I'm usually Dublin based these days with gigs, but
sure, you've your own club, like
Laughs,
Slats every Sunday night.
Yeah. Every Sunday night in Slattery's Bar there in Dublin 4 near the Aviva Stadium. So it's that's a great show.
I can't, like, every time it comes across, we can't fucking tie it up, but we will. We will
eventually. Yeah, we will eventually. I'd love to have you there. I only book solid acts.
You can see that. Yeah.
Really solid lineups, and I do an open spot where I give someone a shot at doing 7 minutes kind of thing, and the audience are really supportive of those people as well. They're regular audience. They keep coming back again and again, and it's just a lovely room. I can't do any material, like, I have to just crowd work.
What I see,
same people show up over and over again,
what I kind of see it becoming, from what I can sense, if you're getting locals back, and it is kind of a locally, what might be like what would say Colin Regan has with In-Jokes, it's beautiful kind of, we love this guy, and we trust that he's going to bring on a couple of bangers.
Good acts. Yeah. Which is what you want. I've never done In-Jokes, if Colin's listening. Colin.
He does listen. He does.
Colin, I've never done In-Jokes.
Hit the man up. He will look after you. You. Like, you'll get 1 a year, because he just does 12.
And of course, he's just going to send me a voice note going, I've never done Slattery's. Well, there you go. Oh, dear. Oh, yeah.
Hey, this has been absolutely fucking beautiful. Thank you so much for coming back on.
Tom, you're a legend. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
I can only apologize to your missus, by the way. And yes, it is an affair. And
look, it is what it is, Tom.
It's not physical, but at the same time, there's a yearning.
Not for you, but you can just see my head with that camera, Tom.
It's true, and I'm glad you said that, because honestly, ditto.
Two pantless hairy men having a chat.
And there's nothing weird, because we can identify as that, and nobody's allowed to judge us. So
yeah, exactly.
Accept it as being the new normal.
The new normal. Yes, I hate that phrase. The new normal.
Legend. Thanks a million,
Tom. You're a hero. Thank you.